In 2023, something shocking happened in Nigeria. Nearly 3 out of 4 registered voters stayed home on election day. They did not show up. They did not cast a ballot. They simply gave up. This was not laziness. This was a statement. And what it said about Nigerian democracy should concern everyone. So does voting still matter in Nigeria? Stay with me because the answer is more complicated than you think. Every 4 years, the pattern repeats. Campaign posters flood the streets, politicians make grand promises, hope rises briefly. Then voting day arrives. People queue under the brutal sun, some wait for hours, some wait all day, and many leave wondering the same thing. Did this actually change anything? That doubt did not appear overnight. It has been building for years, election after election, result after result. Today, we're going to investigate why millions of Nigerians are asking this question and what it means for the future of Africa's largest democracy. Nigeria returned to civilian rule in 1999. Since then, the country has held multiple general elections, each one described as historic, each one called a turning point. Yet, for many citizens, daily life feels largely unchanged. Insecurity persists. Unemployment remains high. Public services struggle. The 2023 general election saw a voter turnout of just 27%. Think about that. In a country of over 200 million people, only about 1 in 4 registered voters showed up. This was one of the lowest turnouts since democracy returned. Low turnout is not just apathy, it is a signal of broken trust. Many Nigerians believe the outcome is already decided before ballots are cast. They believe power is negotiated behind closed doors. They believe elections only formalize those decisions. And sadly, they have reasons to believe this. There have been repeated reports of vote buying, cash distribution, food items, promises exchanged for ballots. In some elections, observers documented voters being openly paid near polling units. When people are struggling to survive, ideology loses meaning and voting turns into a trade, not an expression. Then there is the credibility problem. Delayed results, conflicting figures, technical failures during critical moments. Electronic transmission systems were introduced to improve transparency, but their implementation has been inconsistent. Sometimes they work, sometimes they fail. And when systems fail at the moments that matter most, suspicion grows, and suspicion kills participation. Perhaps the most serious issue is security. In many parts of Nigeria, elections are held under fear. Fear of violence, fear of intimidation, fear of not returning home safely. In some states, polling units have been attacked in past elections, ballot boxes burned, voters dispersed. When voting feels dangerous, people stay away. Not because they do not care, but because they value their lives more than their ballots. Now, let's discuss something most people will not say out loud. Political godfathers. These are the power brokers who operate behind the scenes. In many regions, candidates do not rise purely through popular support. They rise through networks, financial backing, and political sponsorship from influential figures. These godfathers often influence primaries, nominations, and alliances long before the public votes. By the time citizens arrive at polling units, the real choices have already been made. The menu has already been set. This creates a profound sense of distance, a feeling that voting is symbolic theater, not democratic power. And here is the painful truth. When people feel powerless, they act powerless. They stop showing up, they stop believing, they stop participating. And that is exactly when democracy dies. Voting in Nigeria is not completely meaningless. It is constrained but not worthless. There have been moments when votes clearly mattered. Historic upsets, unexpected outcomes, peaceful transfers of power that defied predictions. The 2015 election saw an incumbent president lose and peacefully hand over power. That was significant. It proved the system could work. These moments show something crucial. The system is deeply flawed, but not entirely closed. The problem is not that voting has zero impact. It is that its impact is wildly inconsistent. And inconsistency is the enemy of trust. Another critical factor is what happens after elections. Many voters feel abandoned once results are announced.
campaign promises evaporate, access disappears, representation feels distant and abstract. When leaders are not held accountable between elections, voting begins to feel like a ritual rather than a tool. And that is a dangerous shift, because democracy depends on continuity, not just events. So, does voting still matter in Nigeria? Yes, but not in isolation. Voting matters as part of a larger ecosystem, an ecosystem that includes transparency, accountability, security, independent media, and active civil society. When those elements are missing, voting carries too much weight and then disappoints. When they are present, voting becomes genuinely transformative. The frustration Nigerians feel is not ignorance or laziness, it is experience. People respond to patterns they have observed, to outcomes they have lived through. That frustration deserves to be taken seriously, not dismissed. The real danger is not skepticism. The real danger is total withdrawal. Because when citizens completely disengage, power becomes even more concentrated. The gap between rulers and ruled grows wider, and change becomes exponentially harder.
Voting is not a magic solution. It is an entry point. It opens a door, but walking through that door requires sustained pressure, consistency, participation beyond election day, demanding accountability from those in power, supporting independent institutions, protecting the integrity of democratic processes. Perhaps the better question is not whether voting still matters in Nigeria. The better question is, under what conditions does it truly matter? What needs to change for those 27% to become 50%, then 70%? What would restore trust in the system? This is not about blind optimism, and it is not about paralyzing fear. It is about understanding how power actually works, because systems only change when people understand them. And once you understand the system, you can find its pressure points. You can identify where your voice actually matters. The question is, will Nigerians find those pressure points before the system breaks completely? What do you think? Does voting still matter where you live? Let me know in the comments. And if you found this analysis valuable, consider subscribing for more deep dives into politics, power, and democracy across Africa.